Guys, what's up? It's Bradley Overrated bringing you another controller review, and this time we have a charity controller, and I'm doing quotations for a reason, but this is the PowerA wired controller for the Xbox One. It is a controller that's very interesting because some of the proceeds go to kids that are struggling with autism, and I thought that was a cool cause. And it's $25. So it's pretty cool, and when I bought it, I was like, hey, it has a really cool design, and I needed another controller. Why not try this out? Yes, it's a cheap controller, but hey, maybe it'll be really good. And then as I took it home and I looked at the box, I didn't read the fine label, but I discovered that for 25 bucks, a whopping dollar goes to the actual charity. So for all of those kids that struggle with autism, for each one of these controllers you can buy, they will get $1, and the rest of the proceeds go to GameStop, and I'm assuming PowerA, since they are the developers of this controller. Now look, it's cool when companies want to donate some of their proceedings to charities. I think that's really cool. But $1? That's only 4%, man. I mean, that's really low, and I would say I'm surprised, but I see this type of thing all the time. I used to work at Barnes & Noble, for example, and there was a wristband you could buy, and the wristbands were about 15 bucks each, and they would give 2% of $15 to the charity that wristband was doing the charity for. So yeah, it's just a little bit disappointing when you have bigger companies like GameStop and PowerA, who, yes, they're a third-party develop type of company, but it's still a pretty big, decently sized company and decently successful. $1, you can do a little bit more. Having said that, while that is kind of annoying, it is still cool that they still did something. And besides, the review at least does not reflect my opinion of them being a little bit on the cheaper side of their generous hearts. So with that in mind now, let's review this controller. And the first thing I do want to say about the PowerA controller is that it really is pretty. I mean, take another look here. This is awesome. This design, I am going to commend PowerA immensely for this, because this is how you do it. I just absolutely love what they've done here. I just think it is a fantastic, almost piece of art. So I really do enjoy that. And for 25 bucks, the first thing I want to also talk about is, yes, it does feel cheap. It sounds a little plasticky, but you know what? The buttons, they don't feel terrible. The control sticks don't feel bad. The D-pad's great, actually. I really like the D-pad. And all the buttons seem to work just fine. Now, there is a problem, however, with this. This is how you plug it into your Xbox. You plug it into a USB port or whatever. But this thing is a pain. When I try turning on my Xbox with this, it'll work, but then I have to unplug it and replug it in, and the wire becomes very loose. Very annoying that this wire becomes loose and has sync problems on occasion. I hate that. I wish that was better. And then the other thing that I also wish that was better was this is not a good controller for online gaming at all. When I got this controller, I plugged it in, tested it out, and it has its own little, dongle for your headset. And all the feedback from my friends says there's a really annoying buzzing sound that comes from me anytime I use this controller for online gaming. And it's not my headset, because immediately I disconnected this, got a standard Xbox One controller, plugged in my headset, and the sound was gone. So unfortunately, this is not a good controller for online gaming, so if you're an online gamer, you need to stay clear of this controller. But on the flip side, it is very comfortable, and I do use this controller still for single-player games, because I play a dominant amount of my gaming is single-player, so it works really well for that. Like I said, the buttons themselves, yes, they feel a little bit plasticky. I mean, you can hear that. It doesn't sound the best, but it doesn't sound terrible, and all the buttons work really well, and holding this controller in my hands is very comfortable. So let's go ahead now and give this lovely little controller of ours a score now. And it had a lot of potential. For 25 bucks, the buttons feel great, the controls feel great, the triggers don't feel terrible, just a little bit plasticky, which is to be expected from a $25 controller. I love the fact that it's going to charity, but that is completely irrelevant because this is just how good is the controller. But since it doesn't work properly with the headset for online gaming, I have to give it a 6 out of 10, and it would have been a higher score if it wasn't for that. Do not use this if you have to talk to people. It doesn't work, and then also, like I said, the syncing right here is a huge problem, and the cord becomes loose very easily, so you have to be very careful that you're not going like this, because it could pop out pretty easily. So it gets a 6 out of 10, and I do recommend if you're looking for a cheap alternative option for single playing or not talking with friends, this controller is actually pretty good. Alright guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Just want to say, hey, if you enjoyed this, subscribe to my channel. I do controller reviews now all the time. People seem to enjoy them, so I'm going to keep doing them because I have a lot more controllers to review on this channel, so make sure you subscribe to that. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. I am Bradley Overrated, out like a trout. Have a good one.